The time has come, y'all. The time has come where I am cutting off my MAGA parents because I can't do this anymore. After years of trying to avoid the politics conversation with them because I know they are MAGA. And that was the only way we could have a relationship, is if we did not talk about it. Well, I'm done. I'm done. Even if my mom is ill, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. She had the fucking nerve on the phone with me. We were arguing about ICE and how they're violently tearing families apart, detaining and deporting people without due process. And she said, I don't give an F about brown people. And then, I don't give an F about slur. And I said to her, this is literally what the Nazis did. The way you're talking, this is what the Nazis did. And she had the fucking gall to say to me, well, your dad is German. And she said, and you are too. And I said, but my kids are going to grow up with empathy. And I hung up on her. And I'm about to block her because that's it. That's it.
But, like, I love my parents so much. And, like, it just sucks. Because maybe this is always who they were. I just didn't see it. Maybe it's just gotten so much worse. But it's like I'm grieving people that are alive. And people make jokes like, just gotta cut out your MAGA family. It's not that simple. And maybe it is for some people, but I'm so codependent with my parents, and I just want so desperately there to be one scripture verse or one video or one thing that'll just, like, flip a switch. Let them see that they're not living like the Christ that they raised me to love. They're hurting real people with their beliefs. They're hurting me. It just sucks, bro. It just sucks. It sucks having MAGA parents. And MAGA siblings and MAGA grandparents and MAGA in-laws. I'm drowning out here, bro. It just sucks. Like, even to call human beings aliens. Like, it takes one simple Google search. The bill is right there. All of the things are right there. They don't want information. They want whatever aligns. It just sucks.
Cut off my MAGA mom yet. And I just need MAGA to know that when we're making these decisions to cut you people out of our lives, that it is a long and arduous decision. I have wrestled with this decision for years now. And I think I'm there.
The 2024 election was not a difference in politics. It was a difference in morality, humanity, values, justice, and equality for all. And across the country, MAGA parents are being cut off by their own children. So let's have a look. Please like and hype the video and let me know your thoughts in the comments, alright? Let's get into it.
This is going to be one of those I lost my parents to MAGA videos. I had a whole plan for how I was going to do this, and now I'm just going to go off the cuff. So there was a violent ICE arrest made in my hometown, and I don't want to completely dox myself here, but it was it went viral, and it was heartbreaking. And the actual arrest happened on the road that I used to live on, about 10 minutes from my house, on a country highway. And I sent this to my mom because my parents are triple Trumpers, and throughout this administration, I've tried to send things that are very unbiased, things that seem extremely black and white. So I sent this video to her and I said, hey, did you see that this happened? And her response was, oh my gosh, that is horrific. We need to talk to immigration lawyers, named off a couple people that we know. And in the text she said, people need to be protesting all across this country. We need peaceful protests. I said, great, Mom. Actually, there's this huge protest that's happened multiple times. It's called No Kings. And she says, oh, well, I've heard about them, and it's full of BS. I said, oh, how so? She said, well, Kamala Harris was not duly elected as the Democratic nominee last year. So, and Trump was duly elected. So, which smacks more of monarchy? And my response was, oh, well, you're not part of the Democratic Party, so why do you care? And she says, well, corruption in any form is just so dangerous. I said, well, Mom, I've got some bad news for you about the Trump administration. And she just kind of brushes me off by saying that, well, politics in general, it's about the ideas. Politics is about the ideas. There's always going to be corruption in politics. And it just kind of stunned me because, I've sent her different things through the year, and nothing will shift her. Nothing will shift her from supporting the current administration. Nothing, really. Or she will come right up to the line of changing her position, voicing support for the woman who was violently arrested and held under false pretenses, but not to the point of decrying the administration. And the thing is, I have a very small social footprint, right? Like, my political activism at this point in my life is basically reposting things on my Instagram stories. I made a spreadsheet for myself tracking the Trump administration, and I think I have like 50 to 75 entries, and I haven't even updated it since the summer. Okay. There's so much more data that I could add to this. Under corruption, bribery, tearing down the entire east wing of the White House without involving Congress or the National Park System, without any permissions. The fact that the Trump family has grown $3 billion in wealth since Trump took office. Like, there is so much data, and it does not matter. I could share this spreadsheet with my parents, and they would find a way to acknowledge the problem and somehow put the blame on the Democratic Party. Tonight I posted something about Zohran Mamdani's win, and her response was, he's a communist, he supports Hamas, and this clip didn't say anything about supporting the Constitution. And I said, well, Mom, Trump doesn't support the Constitution either. And she got upset with me. I didn't say anything about Trump. And literally, as I make this TikTok, she's DMing me links from far-right rabbit hole news sources on Instagram. And it just breaks my heart because I was homeschooled. I was homeschooled to think critically. By her, by my parents. I was put in rhetoric classes, logic classes. I did speech and debate for 2 years. I learned how to research and cite my sources. I learned how to evaluate sources for their biases. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It is so ironic that because I was homeschooled by my conservative parents, I have now pulled away from conservatism, and especially from MAGA territory. And I frankly don't know how to deal with this, because who does? Who does know how to deal with this? I think there's a very snarky, very smug part of myself that knows that in 5 to 10 years, when Trump is dead, we are all going to know far more than we've ever wanted to know about his corruption, his scandals, the things that were actually happening behind closed doors. We're going to learn about the puppets that are currently controlling him. And, so many people on this platform have said, so many people on this platform have said that someday all of the people who are MAGA are going to disavow that they ever supported Trump. And that day is coming, right? That day is coming.
I was over at my parents' house the other day. I was helping my mom set up her Googles and smart TVs and things because she got new Wi-Fi and she didn't know how to update it. And I don't mind helping. She's my mom. She'll be 69 this year. And she's still significantly younger than the people that are in Congress making decisions about AI data centers, and she doesn't know how to update her Google. So that's a terrifying thought. But anyways, I had to go to her pictures to see her old Google password or whatever to update the new Wi-Fi. And the screenshots, it was just one Facebook misinformation meme after another Facebook misinformation meme. And it wasn't like I was trying to even find things to upset me. It's just there. And I even got my hopes up for a second because she had screenshotted like an entire article from our local paper about SNAP benefits being cut, only to the very next one being, if you're upset about your SNAP being cut, you can blame Democrats for wanting to give health care to illegal aliens. And I just started to cry. And like, you have to understand, these people raised me. They would give anyone anything. I've seen it. The generosity to the poor and the dissonance that's required to align yourself with this administration. There is no other word but cult. There really isn't. There's no statistic I can send them, no article I can send them. There's nothing I can tell them. They have an answer. And it's so funny to me. I held it back and I was like, you know what? Every fight I've ever had with them has ended poorly. I'm never gonna change their mind on anything. They have decades and decades of white Christian nationalists feeding them theology and decades of Fox News feeding them propaganda. They're goners. But they're my parents. And it's hard. But I just kept going about updating her stuff, and then I was working on her printer and I had to pull it up, and there's more information memes. I was trying to find a picture to print, and it was breakdown of Trump's spending and Obama's spending, and it's like all of these inflated, taken out of context budget spending for a man that's been out of office for almost a decade, as if that somehow justifies building a ballroom, not giving people their SNAP benefits. And then there's like one, it's like a misinformation meme. It would take 10 seconds to Google these things. That's the craziest part of Hillary Clinton quoting about Trump would be a great president in 1994. One, she never said that. And two, you don't even like her. So what? Own the libs while everyone suffers? Like, And there was one that said, "Thank you, President Trump, for fighting like a dog for no money for the American people." What planet are you on? What planet? And then I just started sobbing. And she's like, "What's wrong? What's wrong? Did you see something on my phone?" Girl, quit playing with me. I'm just like, I gotta go home. Like, I gotta go home. Like, for my peace, like, I knew if I stayed, I was gonna fight, and it would be counterproductive. The only positive of the entire situation is that I made a 2025 bingo card, which so much fuckery is on it that I did not anticipate. But, and one of my little squares was choose peace over being right. That night, I was actually able to go home and check it off because I just went home. And she said, I don't even know much about I don't even keep up with politics, which MAGA loves to say. Oh, I just don't keep up with things. You had an awful lot of political screenshots on your phone for someone that doesn't keep up with politics. I said, I'm just running out of things to talk to you about, Mom. I don't know. I want to vent to you about how I'm worried about food insecurity for my patients and people in our community. I want to talk to you about how I'm worried about the state of this country for my children. I want to talk to you about current events, and I can't. Everything, when you are this, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing, everything is controversial. There's no topic left. I mean, we could talk about the weather, but then I don't know, you probably think that the Democrats are controlling the weather. I don't know. It's hard. It's so hard. And I know there's so many people that have it so much worse, and they're going to be like, oh, white women tears. Fair enough.
My mother is a MAGA boomer. About 2 years ago, I was arguing with her about January 6th and how terrible it was. I brought up how those people built gallows on the sidewalk to unalive Mike Pence. She looks me in my face and says, "Where'd you see that?" And I was like, on every legacy news media outlet, Mom. Like, it happened. She 100% honestly told me she had never seen that. So I pulled out my phone and I just Googled it. And of course, a gajillion photos of the gallows show up. She had honestly never seen it. Then I remembered my parents haven't had cable for years. They grew up in fundamentalist Christianity from the time they were teenagers, and they raised me in the same. Got rid of cable a long time ago. You don't have satellite TV. Our only source of media is online. We all know these older MAGA folks are only consuming media from right-wing authoritarian content creators, not from legacy outlets that actually still have a big enough reach where they must maintain some level of journalistic integrity. She was 100% telling me the truth that she had no idea that they built gallows to get rid of Mike Pence on January 6th because he certified the election results of 2020. Now, this is a prime example of how MAGA is a cult. I know that word is very triggering, but when I say it, I'm saying it with a clinical definition, specifically the BITE model that was created by Dr. Stephen Hassan, who's one of the world's foremost cult experts and a former cult member himself. He was in the Moonies in the early 70s. BITE model is the control of behavior, information, thoughts, and emotions. Any combination of those four things being controlled by a group, you're dealing with a cult group or a high control group. My mother did not know that they built gallows for Mike Pence. She was completely unaware because the information that she takes in is controlled. The way that they do this is by demonizing any sort of news outlet media that disagrees or has a different perspective. You used to have to physically isolate people to get this level of information control. Now you don't. Now you just demonize all the people that disagree with you. And especially for Christians like my mom, you tell them that it's an attack from the enemy. Somebody would say something bad about Donald Trump, and you automatically build in thought-stopping technique into the brains of your loyal followers. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Whenever I feel guilty about not talking to my parents anymore, I ask myself this: why would I expose myself to people who I have to go to therapy, I have to seek self-care and healing in order to be around every time I'm around them, who have never gone to therapy for me, who refuse to go to therapy or do any type of self-help, self-reflection, development for me? I wouldn't walk across hot coals for someone. So why am I doing that every time I see my parents, emotionally speaking? When they not only will not walk across hot coals for you, they won't even think of the idea to sweep away the coals so you have a clear path to walk through so you don't get hurt. It doesn't even occur to them. Doesn't even occur to them that it hurts you to have to see them. And there are layers of it, because that it doesn't occur to them that it could be hurtful, that their lingering traumas and bullshit that they refuse to work through hurts you, is a hurt in of itself, because it's like you're aware of the neglect and they are not. It's really helped me look at my time, my space, my health as a value. It has a value, a monetary value if you're talking about the cost of therapy, and it helps to take them off the pedestal, because naturally as kids our parents are on a pedestal, and by thinking of it this way you're taking them and putting them on the plane of everyone else. And when you look at them as just everyone else, they're really old, miserable people who will never change, not even to save the relationship with their children.
I think no amount of fact or even reasoning will ever make a MAGA person change their mind, and I've seen them defend the most cruel and inhumane treatment of ICE agents on Facebook, and you just stop and wonder, how do these people lack empathy and understanding, And this is why so many people are making a very difficult decision to distance themselves from their own MAGA family members, because they believe they threaten their basic values. It's about drawing boundaries because their beliefs affect real people's lives, It's about keeping their peace and holding them accountable for their beliefs. And MAGA usually reject that their movement has become a cult, but everybody can see it because they practice blind loyalty to their leader. They would rather lose their children than lose their leader. They defend their leader no matter what, even when he's wrong, But in a healthy democracy, people must criticize and hold leaders accountable when they go wrong, But to MAGA, when people criticize their leader, they usually treat it as an attack to the movement itself, And that's what blind loyalty does. It makes people ignore contradictions, excuse behavior, or even reject information that challenges their worldview. And I've also seen some scenarios where MAGA have completely weaponize Christianity, where they say that if you don't vote red, you're not a true Christian. All while, they don't care about immigrants being dehumanized, They don't care racism becoming normalized. They don't care when black and brown people are being treated unfairly or when other marginalized groups are being treated unfairly, Immigration must be done in a way that protects human dignity and basic human rights. Values are not just words, Values are shown in what people are willing to defend, what suffering they tolerate and who they believe deserves protection. So thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.